favorite player. So could that make him LeBron's favorite player? Michael Haynes reporting that Michael Beasley has reached an agreement to join the Lakers on a one-year deal worth $3.5 million. Beasley averaged 13 and 5 last year with the Knicks. By the way, this is Chris Haynes, excuse me. And if you take a look at the summer of LeBron, forget it. It's the summer of the one-year deal. Beasley's the fifth player this offseason to sign a one-year contract with the Lakers, joining JaVale, Rondo, Caldwell Pope, and Lance.
Win, 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 win. Curve everything else. Win, 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 win. These ups ain't lit. Win, 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 win.
Hey, he wanted LA. Instead, he'll be in Toronto to start the 2018 season. Kawhi Leonard warming up to the idea of playing for the Raptors, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. Now, earlier today, Toronto GM Masai Ujiri explained why he felt the deal had to be made for Kawhi, despite Leonard missing the majority of the season with an injury.
We've been doing this for how many years? You know, you can't continue doing the same thing over and over again. And when you get a chance to get a top 5 player, which it doesn't come very often, I think you have to jump on it. And I think we've given a chance to this team. We've tried to build it as much as we can. But at this point, we got to this level where this opportunity came in front of us and we had to jump on it. Without all this medical drama that there is, we have no chance of talking to a player like that. Zero. You have no chance. He would be in San Antonio, and we wouldn't have a chance to get him. This is why we have a chance, and this is the risk that you are taking. We've looked at some of the medical, like as soon as the deal was done, and the rest will depend on the physical that will be done shortly.
Risks and breakups. Now, here's the fallout. Raptors' DeMar DeRozan, by the way, former Raptor, to start posting this to his Instagram story after he found out about the Kawhi trade. Told one thing and the outcome another. Ain't no loyalty in this game. Sell you out quick for a little bit of nothing. Soon you'll understand. Don't disturb. Ujiri was asked about how it all ended and DeRozan's disappointment.
I had a conversation with DeMar at Summer League, and I really want to leave it at that. I think maybe my mistake was talking about what we expected going forward from him. So not necessarily talking about trade, but what I expect from him going forward, and I think that's where the gap was. If there was a miscommunication there, I do apologize to DeMar and his family and his representation. It's not what I meant, but maybe I should have handled it, better. So that's what I'm apologizing for.
DeMar, what do you think? Okay. This is DeRozan posting the facepalm emoji. Clearly not pleased with the press conference apology. NBA insider Brian Windhorst joining us now on SportsCenter. Wendy, how do you think Ujiri handled this situation with all the talk following the trade with DeRozan?
You know, I feel like he did exactly what an NBA general manager has to do. If he sees a trade that he likes that can make his team better, and I really do think this made the Raptors better, he's got to do it. And frankly, Kevin, sometimes if you're an NBA GM, you got to lie. And the word lie can be in a gray area. And whether he directly lied to DeMar DeRozan or not, he did what he had to do. This has happened for decades in the NBA. It's going to happen for decades more. The Clippers lied to Blake Griffin last year. This is just what it is. I think the mistake that he made was when they made the deal a couple of days ago, they didn't come out and be over the top effusive with DeMar DeRozan. But even if they had, he's just as traded.
All right, now let's go to the other side here, because now the Raptors have to deal with some questions surrounding Kawhi and his health. You know, he only played 9 games last year, dealing with that quad and some uncertainty about the extent of that injury now. What will the Raptors learn after Kawhi goes through the physical process?
Here's the thing, Kevin. We may not learn anything because the Spurs doctors 5 months ago said that Kawhi was clear to play. I'm not so sure that scans and imaging are going to tell us as much as getting on the court will tell us. And whether that happens next week at Team USA or they have to wait till the fall, that's what we're going to have to do to see what Kawhi Leonard actually is. I think a lot of people have spun ahead and said, is he going to stay long term? Before we can even think about Kawhi's free agency, we have to see what Kawhi Leonard can give the Raptors this year. And I'm not so sure anything in this physical is going to stop this trade, whether they like what they see on the scans or not.
I just want to see him on the court, regardless of what uniform, right? Because of all those questions, we'll see how this plays out. Brian Windhorst with us on SportsCenter. More NBA news coming your way. LeBron, since he signed in L.A., the Lakers have filled out the roster with some interesting free agents. The newest acquisition, the guy LeBron played with before.
News again coming in moments ago. Kevin Durant heading to the Golden State Warriors. How are you viewing this move from Durant?
Well, I'm viewing it as the weakest move I've ever seen from a superstar. Plain and simple. That's just how I look at it. It's not that he's leaving Oklahoma City. If you're not happy there and you want to move on and you want to grow as a player, there's nothing wrong with that. He's one of the top 3 players in the world. He's a quintessential superstar. He deserves all the credit in the world for the talent that he possesses. But the flip side is this. They were up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. Not 1, not 2, but 3 different times. He was 48 minutes removed from getting to the NBA Finals by winning the Western Conference. 3 times he failed, particularly in Game 6. And you depart for the team that beat you when you're on the cusp of getting to the finals yourself or ultimately winning the championship for the franchise that you've been with since you've come into the NBA, I think it's incredibly weak. And I don't want to hear any comparisons to that of LeBron James when LeBron James left Cleveland for South Beach. When LeBron left Cleveland, the cupboard was bare. He was basically the only dude in Cleveland. It was LeBron James and a bunch of no-names. In the case of Kevin Durant, you have one of the top 5 players in the world as your teammate. You've got Billy Donovan, who's proven to be an exceptional coach. You've got a coaching staff. You've got a first-class organization. You've got Enes Kanter, Steven Adams, and all of these boys. You are legitimately a championship contender. You are the difference. You are the superstar, and you depart for the team that beat you, that's the 2-time reigning defending Western Conference champions, who's won a championship in the last 2 years. You're jumping on a bandwagon as far as I'm concerned. That's just the way that I look at it. I don't think there's any way to deny that. All the reporters, whether it's Ramona, it's Chris Broussard, everybody doing an exceptional job, pointing out the things that they point out. I don't disagree with anything anybody is saying. But in the end, what it comes down to is that Kevin Durant is one of the top 3 players in the world, and he ran away from the challenge that he faces in order to jump on the bandwagon of a team that's a little bit better, that's already rife with at least one superstar, a couple of guys that can really, really get it done. I just view it as him jumping on the bandwagon, and I think it's the weakest move I've ever seen by a superstar, plain and simple.
Chris Broussard, let's say that the Warriors win a championship next year. That's not without the realm of possibility. Do you think it's watered down because it's a team that...
I disagree with Steve.
Okay.
I don't think this is much different at all from what LeBron James did in 2010 when he went to Miami. Remember, those Cleveland teams won 66 and 61 games. And I could argue that LeBron's struggles at the end of that Boston series in 2010, they were up 2-1 on Boston. Yeah. He was phenomenal in Game 3 and then struggled the rest of the series, and they lost. And then he went to a guy, Dwayne Wade, who had already won the championship, and with Chris Bosh. So I understand Steve saying they were up 3-1 on Golden State, and they should have won that. But this is similar, Steve, man. This is very similar, I think, to what LeBron did. So I can't rip KD for this.
Well, I'm not. Listen, I'm not ripping him for leaving. First of all, I'm ripping him for the team that he went to. You're going to the team that beat you when you were 48 minutes away on 3 separate occasions from beating them yourself. It's not that he's leaving Oklahoma City. It's the team that he's going to. And Chris Broussard, you've covered this league too long. I don't know how in God's name you can sit there and say that it's a similar situation to what LeBron experienced
LeBron was the best
in
player
Cleveland.
In the league. LeBron was being compared to Michael Jordan.
Who was on the team?
Criticism LeBron took, which is
Chris.
similar to what you're saying.
Whoa.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm asking a question.
All right,
Tell me who was LeBron James' teammates. Who are they?
They were good enough to help him get 66 wins.
I asked you a question.
All right.
It's a direct question, Chris.
He didn't have a Russell Westbrook. He didn't have a Russell Westbrook.
Keep going.
Hold on, Steve.
Could
they not have beaten Boston?
It's not the same. And not only that, there were more things that were going on in Cleveland on a personal level, which you know just as well as anybody that influenced LeBron leaving Cleveland too. What's KD's excuse? Are you kidding me? I'm saying the issue is not about Kevin Durant's character. Kevin Durant is a good dude. He's a great basketball ambassador. He's one of the top 3 players in the world. It's not about him leaving because he's perfectly entitled to leave. He's earned the right to do what he wants. We're not casting aspersions on him because we're being hypocritical in terms of, oh, he's unselfish. Oh, it's not about the money. Kevin Durant hasn't been about that. Whereas LeBron had his press conference announcing he was going to South Beach. Kevin Durant, when he signed his initial extension with Oklahoma City, did it on Twitter. He ain't about all of that. We respect it. What we're talking about here is you being up 3-1 on the eventual 2-time Western Conference champions, and at the time the reigning defending NBA champions, up 3-1. Not once, not twice, but 3 times, 48 minutes removed from a berth to the NBA Finals. You come up short, and that is the team you leave your team to depart for? That team that you're on the cusp, on the precipice of knocking off. It's the epitome of jumping on a bandwagon. And when you look at LeBron James, don't give me them 66-win season and all of that stuff during the regular season. They went up against Orlando one year and lost to Miguel Pietrus and Hito Turkoglu and Jameer Nelson and those boys because Cleveland was exposed in the postseason. Then we saw them against Boston, and we also know that LeBron had a lot more going on off the basketball court, which you, Chris Broussard, knows better than most. So we take all of those things into consideration. I asked you to name their roster, and you still didn't give it to me, but we won't belabor that point. The point is, in Oklahoma
keeps
City,
cutting me off.
even if Russell Westbrook is leaving, you still have a situation where you got one more year. I'm just looking at who you departed for. Talk about jumping on the bandwagon. Golden State deserves all the props in the world. Nothing wrong with them. I'd do it if I were them too. He's one of the top 3 players in the world. But there is no doubt that when you talk about the criteria that comes with being a superstar in this league, the reality is clear. Kevin Durant didn't necessarily embrace that because he's jumping on the bandwagon. Where LeBron went, he was still the man. In the end, what you're looking at with Kevin Durant, you're going to Steph Curry's team. Rock Nation benefits. Okay, Nike and Under Armour and everybody else benefits. Kevin Durant may end up getting his ring. But there's something fraudulent about this, period. You can slice it any way you want. That's what it comes down to. You're jumping on the bandwagon, period. He's too great for that, but he could do what he wants. We're not going to sit up there and say that he can't because obviously.
Hey, this is a dominant big guy. He brings a recovering Achilles, proper attitude, and enough. I don't give you know what anyone else thinks to a team that already has plenty of that. He sat down with Warriors reporter Chris Haynes today.
You got an interesting summer. To say the least. There wasn't a lot of offers out there. You're coming off of the Achilles injury, and day 2, you signed. You agreed with the Warriors, and the NBA community went crazy. What was that experience like? Just watching?
I didn't really care. Honestly.
It didn't trip you out at all just to see?
It trips me out to just see, like, it's crazy, like, how angry people
Hey, not just fans, though. Not just fans. Players, too.
It's just kind of funny because before the whole thing started, I was kind of just, wasted. I was damaged goods, not a winner. Just everything negative. And as soon as it happened, it's like, well, he's too damn good to be, so... It's just kind of funny how the narrative switches right away when, things don't go the way they expect it to.
What's the biggest thing that bothers you about how people perceive you to be?
I've become numb to it. Like, I put it like this, if you live your life to satisfy every person that critiques you, like, you'll drive yourself crazy. Like, you will never satisfy everybody and what they feel you should do, especially being in this position. You'll never satisfy. I don't care. I don't care. Like, I don't care because anything and everything that's being said and going on is harmless. Like, I walk around with my head high and I walk around comfortable. I'm good. What they gonna do?
He doesn't care. But you can hear more of the man that doesn't care. DeMarcus Cousins, sit down with Chris Haynes. He will actually talk about things he does care about. That's tonight on SportsCenter at midnight Eastern Time. Linda Cohn, John Buchagras.
Porter Jr., the number 14 pick in the NBA draft, who hurt his back 3 minutes into his college career and then dealt with hip strains and back spasms in the lead up to the draft. The Nuggets say Porter Jr. has now had back surgery on his lumbar spine, and there is no timetable for his return to the game. Marcus Smart tested the waters as a restricted free agent and decided that, I'm going to stay put. 4 years, $52 million. Smart is staying in Boston. The Celtics were going to have a press conference to announce the deal, but then they discovered Smart was in the hospital with flu-like symptoms and needed an IV.
Hard to get him.
The other breaking news, according to our Adrian Wojnarowski, the Thunder are sending Carmelo Anthony to the Atlanta Hawks, and then the Hawks will buy out Melo and allow him to become a free agent. Remember, Carmelo has a no-trade clause. The trade also involves the Thunder sending a lottery-protected 2022 pick to Atlanta for Dennis Schroeder. Last season was Melo's one and only season in OKC, and it was forgettable at best. He averaged 16.2 points per game, the only season in his career in which he averaged fewer than 20 points per. Our Adrian Wojnarowski joins us now. What is next for Carmelo after he is bought out by Atlanta?
Well, the Rockets are the front runner, Nicole, to sign him. He'll be waived. He'll pass through waivers, and he'll be able to sign anywhere he likes. He met with the Rockets and the Miami Heat in Las Vegas last week at Summer League, had permission from the Thunder to do so, but they have not informed any of the teams of a decision yet, but Houston is a strong front runner.
What's the timeline on when this decision could be made next?
Well, once the paperwork is done on the deal, it's filed with the league office. Again, be a 48-hour waiver process, which he'll pass through, and then, after that, he'll be able to formally commit. But it will be in the near future, and Houston is enthusiastic about their chances to pair him with his close friend Chris Paul and obviously James Harden.
Of course, this all starts with the agreement between the Thunder and Atlanta to make this trade. Why does it work for both teams?
Well, especially for Oklahoma City. Dennis Schroeder, to get a starting level NBA point guard, 24 years old, to play, behind Russell Westbrook and at times with Russell Westbrook. They were going to essentially waive and stretch Melo's contract. That would have saved them over $100 million. The way they're doing this, they're still going to save over $75 million, but they get an asset now who can play with them this year. He's got 3 years left on his deal. He's a tradable asset in the future. But Billy Donovan, Sam Presti in Oklahoma City, they want to get faster, quicker, and they've done that with Schroeder. Tremendous opportunity for them to improve their roster. And now at Atlanta, with the arrival of Trey Burke and Jeremy Lin, Trey Young from Oklahoma, the 5th overall pick in the draft, this will become Trey Young's team very quickly.
All right, Woj, thank you so much. Coming up, one is the past, the other is the future.